that I want to address. Number one, Ms. Kissel, I cut you off at the mic. I want to apologize publicly for cutting you off. My fault. Shouldn't have happened. Won't happen again. Number two, somebody talked about a grant that had gone away and the money was not being used. Well, the grant ended, the NSAP grant ended, and we have been funding those programs using our general fund dollars because we believe in those academic programs. And they're going to be expanded at the schools here on the list. So we're not taking anything away. We're using the cost savings to reinvest in our schools and to expand our programs. For any of the staff who do not support what we are attempting to do in an effort to better serve students, we're going to have a transfer fair just for you. So that if you don't want to start school earlier or start school later, if you don't want to work with just pre-K or don't want to transition to a new facility or don't want to stay where you are, you have an opportunity to request a transfer, and HR, Chief Smothers, is going to work with you to ensure it'll be a transfer just for that population of staff. Here are some testimonials from many of our employees. Some of our students. Change is scary, and it is. This is not about what is most convenient for everyone. But why wouldn't you want your child to be as ready as possible? A Baton Rouge Magna High School student, and then from the principal as well this year. Ms. Wells says, we focus on foundational literacy and numeracy, having both a teacher and a paraprofessional in every classroom, majorly strengthens instruction. So we have testimonials, we have the numbers, we have qualitative and quantitative data that support some of the changes we made are working for kids. And so we're going to continue to make the tough changes. We're going to continue to make the tough decisions. We're always going to make sure we put students first. And we just didn't do this in the capital area, the Glen Oaks area, and then seek to do it in this area. We made some tough decisions. We've asked some people to leave our school system who didn't have the best interest of children. I've had some very tough conversations with our board members individually, asking them when they disagreed with the direction we were trying to go in to support the movement. And last school year, I'm happy to report, we had the highest school performance score in the history of the school system on the current accountability system. This week, Friday, we perhaps are going to be named the District of the Year in terms of our magnet programming offering, National Magnet District of the Year. That's going to be huge for us to be able to do that. But to be in the running for it is huge. We've made the right type of decisions. We've decreased the number of undesirable behaviors. Suspensions are down, expulsions are down. Let's hope they stay down. Let's hope we don't have a bad rush day between now and the end of the year. But everything we are attempting to do is in an effort to create a safe environment for your children to learn at high levels so they can go off and be productive citizens. Educate the students. Before I take any questions, I want to say this. I don't know if everybody in here knows that Baton Rouge, as a city, is one of the leading manufacturers of goods and services all over the world. Anywhere you go in the world, not just in the United States, Zimbabwe, Sudan, England, wherever you travel in the world, you are going to interact with a good and or a service that was manufactured right here in Baton Rouge. And the majority of the workforce who contributes to the manufacturing of those goods and services in Baton Rouge come from the public school system here. So we have to think about what type of school system are we creating, what type of school system are we operating, and how are we putting kids in a position to be successful, because we know that what we do every day in our classroom has an impact on the world. Has an impact on the world. Now I'm saying a whole bunch of stuff, but if you don't believe it, do your research. Find out who's one of the leading contributors of goods and services or manufactured goods and services in the world, and you'll find that Louisiana is sugarcane and a whole host of polychemicals and a whole host of other goods and services that are manufactured here. A whole host of other goods and services that are manufactured here. So thank you, that's the end of what I had to say. I don't know if any of our board members want to speak before we go to questions. Then if you have anything you want to say. And at this time, we'll take a few questions. Mr. Kuzan is going to lead those questions. If you have any questions, raise your hand and he'll come to you. Give him a few seconds, because we started in this profession 30-some years ago, and I'm a little younger than him, so I'm moving a little better than him. So give him time to get Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Colleen Kissel, I'm a parent of a 4th grader here. Thank you for your transparency in this presentation. As I talked about at my comment at the board meeting, and let's just be honest, this has not been voted on. You're presenting a proposed plan, but the principals are already going back and forth between the schools. The teachers have already been told where they're moving. So let's not lie. You have the votes, you're going to do this. This is not a community input meeting, this is an information meeting. You don't care, really, what we say. You're just gonna tell us how you're doing it and why you're doing it, which is fine. But anything we say is not going to change this happening, as far as I can tell. My question is, what is the data on 3 through 5 schools? I know we have the pre-K through 2nd, but I have not heard of other 3 through 5 schools. Are we going to be a test case, pilot case, or have we looked at other school districts in other places to see how those students do? And why are we doing this in one shoot instead of having a phase out for the students that are only gonna have a couple years at this transition? And then for the magnet program, it's great we're getting a national magnet, but we have all of that equipment here at Villa Del Rey and we're not using it. So I don't know where your funding is going. We have hydroponics and aquaponics equipment in the hallways that is not being used because we don't have staff for it. And we have a robotics equipment that we don't have staff for. And we have 3D printers and we don't have filament for. So if we could find that funding, that'd be great. I have like 20 other questions, but I will drop it there.
We have a meeting, right?
We do.
Be prepared to listen at that time. All right, any other questions?
I'm the Daniel Lanford, ESS Lower Autism Teacher at Greenbrier Elementary. I know I had asked before that I know since I'm a kindergarten through 2nd grade teacher at Greenbrier, the proposed plan would be for me to my students to move to Park Forest Elementary. But I have a question for my colleagues at Greenbrier who are ESS teachers who teach kindergarten to 5th grade, whether they would be moved as well or if they would stay at Greenbrier.
The answer to that question is the principal, the school building leader, is going to submit to Human Resources the staffing she would like to serve the school. So there's going to be a building level decision.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns, thoughts out there? Got questions right? He coming to you. Be patient, please. You don't move as fast.
Hello, I'm an employee for, East Baton Rouge Parish School. So I do want to bring up the point of a comment of thank you, for the data. So you did listen to your constituents, at your last meeting, because that was some of the issues at one of the meetings was we were asking about the data, the numbers. So you did provide qualitative and quantitative data, and you also provided, testimonials and things like that. So I, do want to thank you for that. And is there going to be another meeting about this?
The next Monday at Park Forest Middle School.
Okay.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I was looking at your funding page, the general breakdown. The funding page, the big school, the general funding breakdown, as
Put it closer to your mouth.
investment in people. And I saw that was 71% of salaries and benefits, but as I go down the chart, the pie chart you have here, I'm looking at 4% as purchase services, mental health, sports, enrichment programs, and legal audit fees. When you look at your budget and you broke down the entities that you have here, how much concern was involved in, or how much time was spent in the mental health sector?
How much time or how much money?
How much money, what time was used for this? You had to evaluate the money you had and break it down and say, you thought probably what you need, I understand that. But I'm looking at the 4% that's in mental health and enrichment programs. And so when you all voted on this, was there some contingencies, there was some meetings, there was some discussion on, this was the only part of the budget, the part of the budget that you were going to spend for this?
Well, I don't think we budgeted that way. We don't say this is only how much we're gonna spend on these services. I don't think we do it that way. You wanna speak to that?
Well, I'm just looking at the general fund rate.
I think that's how much we spend.
It's the breakdown of how much we spend, and those are going to be services. That's not going to be inclusive of people. So that percentage does not include my social workers, my nurses, my mental health people. That's in salaries. That's going to be things, purchase services, not people.
And the purchase service of these categories, what you're saying?
Yes.
Specifically
It
categories.
can be like a contract.
I would just suggest, that if we're looking at mental health support, we might want to spend more money or try to look at what other ways we can develop that and we can spread it out even more. Because I understand we have our care and all of that, but what I experienced, particularly in the high school, that we have a lot of young adults struggling with mental health conditions and issues.
Absolutely, sir.
And I do want to make comments as we talk about mental health services. We do have so many entities that partner with the school system that are able to provide those services, utilizing grant dollars and utilizing Medicaid and Medicare. So oftentimes those numbers are not captured in here because that money is coming from third-party entities who are partnering with the school system to provide those services. So I just want to make mention that. Paul, you got somebody in the back. Oh, right here? We got right here.
I have a question about before and after school care.
Sure.
As a parent with multiple children, multiple ages, my older children help with my younger children. So when the time changed, was that taken into consideration as far as before and after school programs we started? And also I wanted to ask, it was very expensive. When the cost rising before and after school care is going to be more expensive. Has the school system thought about that, maybe making it more affordable for parents, free possibly, or just even having programs at those schools?
To answer your question, yes, we have at the schools in the other areas, we do have before and after school services for those families, and we're anticipating having the same support in these areas. As best we can, we'll try to make it free. But when we cannot make it free, we'll ask for a nominal fee from families who need it. And the reason why is when we have enough students who are in need of that support, it makes it a lot easier to provide funding for them. When we don't have as many, it makes it a little bit more challenging. So it's really based on numbers. So early on, we want to make sure we reach out to families as we did in the other areas to see who is in need of it, and then we want to make sure we're able to provide. Marla, what we got?
Hi, Superintendent.
Hi.
I'm Michelle Woods. I have a question. I know that you all probably already made your mind up about the decision, but my godson is in the magnet program here. Have you thought about the kids who are in the magnet program who may not want to go to La Belle Air, if there is another option for them where perhaps the portal will open in the magnet program to give them additional choices?
It's open now.
For additional choices because of the, okay, thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Well, let me say this to everyone. I do want to say, this plan, these recommendations started over a year ago. So yes, I did begin over a year ago thinking about the entire school system and whether or not we would make recommendations to our board to make these changes. And this is a plan that was developed over a year ago. This is the second phase. And yes, this is a recommendation I'm going to make to the board because I see it working for kids. I see it working for kids. We did a phase-in approach where we started in certain areas and as we transition across the district. But again, I want to make clear, this is not a decision I made on my own. This is a decision I made from multiple conversations I've had with multiple stakeholders, and this is what we've come up with based on those conversations as well as the research that we've used in order to evaluate what is working, what's really working for our kids. We saw schools in our district go from F to C last year, capital I, as a result of some of the changes we made. We saw back Broadmoor go from a B to a C. We saw Capital Elementary go from a B to a C. And the list goes on and on of the schools we saw grow as a result of the types of changes we made. One of the things we're not going to do is hurt kids. We're not going to make decisions that we believe are going to hurt kids. But when we're making these decisions and we see that they're having a positive impact on our students, then we're going to have to continue doing what we know is working. And so I know everyone's not going to agree with that, but I hope that everyone understands we're making decisions we know are going to help students be successful. And hopefully, if we can help students be successful, it will bring a significant level of gratitude to those who have the opportunity to work with our students, and then our families can be proud of the work we're doing. But I want to be clear, and I want to say this. If our school system was first class A1 and A district, which it can be, there would be no charter schools in our area. There would be no district seeking to break away. Because if we had the best product and we were producing outstanding results, everyone would be flooded to our school system. And that is the goal. That is our hope. That is our desire. That is our prayer. We want to create the best school system possible, and we want to help our students be successful. And I am delighted and thankful I have a board who will curse with me behind closed doors, but at a certain point will be supportive of what we're trying to do, as long as they can see that we're really working hard to help kids. We're saving money. We're trying as best we can to be as transparent as possible about what we're doing. And at all times, I do recognize everyone's not going to agree, but please keep continuing to make those suggestions. Again, you have the QR code. I don't want anyone who is here tonight to say you didn't have an opportunity to say or make a suggestion relative to how we spend the money. Because the QR code allows for you to make any suggestion you choose. And then we're going to come back and have 2 more meetings with the community about the budget itself. We're spending money, we're updating facilities, we're providing resources, we're helping kids be successful, and we're going to continue to do that. So as we close, I'm going to ask Ms. Sule to come up and take us out with a word of prayer. Ms. Sule, close up. Sure.
Coming up here, I'm sitting right here. How y'all doing? Thank you all for coming out tonight. I will not be long. This is not my meeting. This is superintendent's. I want to be very clear. He did not ask me to come in here with this sign tonight, but I think it's very important, direly important, that something has to be said on this particular matter. Everything that you heard tonight, the data shown, all of the work and planning that went into this, the thing that you've been hearing about for years is right at our back doors if you don't do something very simple, which is vote. Tell your families to vote, tell your friends to vote, and to continue to support EBR school system. If you do not do this, all of these plans are going to have to be restructured. Because imagine losing between 20% to 25% of our school's operating budget overnight. You think that our school system, when we talk about peril, will be in an absolute shortfall when and if this does happen. And all we are simply asking you to do is support your kids, support your families, support this neighborhood, support this school by making sure that you do your part and going out and casting your vote on May 16th. Our school district is on the line. I can't be any clearer than that tonight. This is operation critical that you get out and go vote. Thank you.
Ms. Sule.
Father, thank you so much for this wonderful school and these wonderful families. May, as we move forward as a board and as a community, we continue to make choices that are good for kids and good for families. Thank you for the privilege it is to do that work. In your name, amen.
Thank you very much for coming out. God bless. Villa Del Rey. I'm just saying.